grandfather.
I appreciate that.
And just wanted to kind of get your sense of, I know you've talked about it before, but what he meant to your career.
Yeah, it's it's one of those things that I couldn't be more grateful for everything that he's done for me. The amount of people that have reached out, you guys, coaches, players, the people that he's touched. He's the leader of our family, and I can't think of a better example to follow in terms of the path that he set, the legacy that he left, for our family. There's no chance I'd be sitting up here if it wasn't for what he did for me and the way that he impacted and touched so many people. I think, somebody sent me a text yesterday, and I think it's one of the best ways to honor him is, be the things that you loved about the people that are gone. And, man, did he do so many things that were in alignment with what you want to be. You talk about living a full life, where you truly leave a legacy, and not because of the success that he had in terms of being a part of 5 world championships, but the way that he treated people, the integrity, the relationships he built, the character that he had. And, I love my grandpa so much, and, he's a great man.
Sean, I'm sure a lot of memories for your grandfather, but is there a special one for you?
Oh, man, there's so many. It's, I think being able to, just being able to go to that stadium and see his name up on that stadium and, the selflessness that he displayed, just the way he carried himself. I mean, there's not one example that stands out. I think it's just the impact that he made. I remember, his wife, Susan, she had an accident a handful of years ago that left her paralyzed. And she's been on 24/7 care for the last handful of years. And I remember when Veronica first got a chance to meet my grandfather and watching the way that he and Susan interacted. Veronica's got such a great sense for people. And my mom says the same thing. He's the sweetest man that they've ever seen. And I think that's true. But he also had just such a great way about himself, a man's man, the epitome of that and all the things that you want to be able to represent. And, man, I'm just grateful for everything that he's done for me. And it's almost embarrassing just the opportunities I've gotten as a result of just the things that he's done. When I finish up playing in college to get right into the NFL, nobody does that, but because of Sean McVay, I got a chance to do that. And, you want to continue to honor the legacy that he left, work as hard as you possibly can, treat people the right way, lead, in the tough moments and stay humble in the good moments, just like he did always. And, it's an easy thing to think about how would Grandpa handle this to kind of keep me in line and be really grateful and blessed for all the things that he's brought to our family and to me especially.
Changing gears.
Yeah.
You had mentioned, you said you had a really good conversation with Cam.
I did.
And his agent. So does that mean Cam's going to be practicing this week and playing on Sunday?
Yeah, there's a possibility of that. As far as playing on Sunday, I don't want to put the cart before the horse, but we're working through some different things. And, like I said, I think, probably after we had that conversation, got a couple different things that, are some options that we can, potentially do moving forward. And we'll have clarity on that as far as, getting them back, working with this group, or if that means exploring other avenues. But want to be able to explore that first one, first, let him kind of be able to digest some of the things that we discussed, work through that with his family and obviously, David Mulgeta, and then we'll see what the next step is. Yeah, we had a good conversation, and I think, laying out those parameters and some of the different things. But, the one thing that, I think is good about some of these discussions that can take place, Jordan, is when you get a chance to reflect on it, you can be honest about, where you could do differently, talking about myself, some of the expectations. And, there's a lot of confidence. There's a lot of belief in the human being and the player, Cam Akers, based on the experiences. And you don't want to, jump to, conclusions just based on a couple things that nobody was necessarily at fault, but it could have been handled better. And I always look at myself first and foremost.
Just to clarify, because I understand all that, but he did express to you he would like to be a part of this team.
Yeah, absolutely.
Will he be here today?
He was here this morning. I told him to be able to kind of work through some of the things that we talked about, and then we'll see what tomorrow looks like, and then I'll have those updates for you then.
You guys atypically were not very active yesterday in terms of completing trades.
Sure.
I'm guessing can you kind of enlighten us on what you guys were doing and why there were no deals?
Well, I think there's a lot of discussions that take place, but it's got to be the right fit. It's got to be the right player, and some of the things that we were working through. And in some instances, you're looking at it and you might not necessarily have the compensation that they're looking for in return, or we felt like it didn't necessarily fit. There's, whether it's, do you have the actual resources to be able to give what they're looking for? Is it a player? Is it a picks? Can you onboard, some of the current salaries that these guys have in addition to, what we're dealing with our current roster? And so nothing really fit. But as you guys know, there's always explorations for us.
Sean, when that happens and you don't make a move, do you say anything to the team with so much football left, or do you just not even really address it with the squad?
No, I don't think so, because, just because we've done that the last couple years, it doesn't mean that, that's standard operating procedure for us. It's got to be able to have the right fit for us. And so our guys are focused on Tampa Bay and moving forward the right way.
Sean, first of all, so much condolences.
Appreciate that.
Sunday after the game, you said it's not time to push the panic button, and you referred to, things are different. From that point Sunday, looking at film, going through everything you've gone through, how different is it trying to prepare with what you have now? Have you made significant changes, no changes, as you prepare?
As far as just with players, or
how you would approach scheme?
well, I think it's always predicated on our players first, and then the upcoming opponent. And there were some things that when you look at the game the other day, I thought we did a good job through the first half, and then we didn't finish. And the game was kind of short, and there wasn't a whole lot of plays on offense or defense. So I think everything was exclamated that much. They made some big plays that they were able to capitalize on, scoring opportunities. And then there was a couple instances where we had chances to be able to make plays and didn't quite deliver. And then that's where things get out of whack, and you don't end up finishing the game the way that you want. But there's always moving parts, but you've got to be able to move forward accordingly. And so what that means for us is ever evolving, and we're just going to figure out, what is the best way to try to put together a game plan in all three phases to ultimately try to, go get our fourth win and have a good week of preparation.
Couple more, yeah.
Coach, you've had success against them in the past couple of years. Do you feel like it's significantly different this year because of the injuries?
I think every game's a different game. I think that, while we've had some success, I think, it's about playing that way, in that 3.5 hour window that you're allotted, and doing the things that are in alignment with winning the football game. And we just happen to be able to do that when we played them twice last year. But this is a really good football team. They've got more than, enough guys to be able to make the plays. They're well coached. So, again, I think what you look at with the NFL in general, but especially this year, you got to play each game as its own separate entity, and records, throw them out the door, because I think things will start to balance themselves out, as this season continues to progress. But we've got to do a good job of controlling what we can control.
Even with the records being thrown out of the door, not the start you wanted, but do you feel that you have everything that you want to accomplish still in front of you? Obviously, you have matchups with Seattle down the road. There's a lot of hope still left. Is that kind of the vibe you still get to yourself?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we have a lot of football left. I think the biggest thing, though, is the way that you continue to play relevant games is by handling your business in the present. And so what we've got to do is be able to worry about, hey, all we can control is good week, and try to be able to go 1-0 this week. And it is the coaching cliche, but like you guys have heard me say over and over, it's the truth. And we want to be totally and completely present. We want to be able to learn from the things that we've got to make sure that we do better as we move forward, but not hang on to the past in a way that prevents us from moving forward in a manner that's reflective of the process, the preparation, the standards, and the ability to compete at our highest level.
Sean, I understand it's a situation with a lot of moving parts, but in terms of the mutuality of the situation with Cam, as you guys work to come toward a mutual solution, was he frustrated with his role as it pertained to how it fit in the overall philosophical shift of this run game?
I wouldn't necessarily say that. I mean, we just have had less opportunities for a variety of reasons, as you kind of know. basically, with the Cam situation, we talked about a couple different options. Wanted to give him an opportunity to be able to weigh that with his family and with his representation, and then we'll circle back later on this afternoon and see what the next move is, whether that's continuing to move forward with the Rams or if you explore giving him an opportunity to be able to see, what that looks like with another team. But I think the first option is let's try to exhaust all measures as it relates to the Rams. And if we're all in kind of alignment with what we think is the best way to be able to move forward, you'd like to be able to do that. And if not, then out of respect for both parties, then we'll make that decision afterwards, but rather kind of look at that one first.
And that would be releasing him? I mean, at this point, without being able to make trades?
That's a possibility, but like I said, I think the first option is weigh some of the different things that we put out, on the table in terms of what it could potentially look like. Acknowledge some of the things that, let's address, how we got here and where, my responsibility falls within the framework of those types of things, and see what's next. Okay? Thanks, guys.
Tom Brady. Do you see a big difference between this year and last year for him when you look at film of him?
I think the biggest difference is there's been like some key drops and key moments. I think the run game is a little bit, they kind of moved away from the run game, so it's not as much. So I think all of that kind of plays a part in how he's playing, because I think you got to play complementary football from a running standpoint. So that's why I wouldn't be surprised they come out and try to run the ball, establish the run game so it can open up all the other stuff that they're trying to do.
Bobby, going back to the game on Sunday, do you feel like a lot of players lost their cool too early in that fourth quarter?
Nah, we just didn't make enough plays to win the game. So, we had some penalties that were, kind of questionable, but that's all in our control, and we have to do better.
At this point, when you're 3-4, plenty of season in front of you, but it's 3-4. Kind of, can you share what the mindset is, and as a leader, what you do in this situation to get things going in the right direction?
I think you recognize that, there's so much football left. There's 10 games left. There's a lot can be said in 10 games. I think the mentality is just, you all the games that's happened, you can't change those games. What you can do is with the game you have in front of you. And so focus on that game and then try to rattle off some wins. And so you can't think too far ahead, because then you'll miss the moments in front of you. So I think there's no need to panic. There's no need to be worried, in my opinion. There's so much football left. I've been in situations that were way worse than this. And so that's kind of what I add from a leadership standpoint is, reminding them that, I think there was teams that were 2-5 last year that made the playoffs. There was, so many different things that you can account for, but none of that means anything if you don't make the changes you need to make, do the things you need to do, and, win the game that's coming up right now, which is this one. From a defense standpoint, we just need to create turnovers. I think that's the biggest thing. We've had our opportunities to have them, and we haven't capitalized on it. Again, that's something that's in our control. And so we make some of those plays. I think the game changes a little bit. So I think that's a start for us.
What's the feeling on the sideline where you do force that turnover and the ball bounces right back to the other team?
I mean, it happens that way. Sometimes, for him to just be sitting there on the ground and the ball bounces to his hands, happens that way. You can't really sweat it. You just got to move on, and you have to have short memory, and that's kind of what it is.
What do you make of the parity across the league in general right now?
What do you mean?
Just all the teams that are so close together in record, and all the teams that still are kind of in it relative to how things sometimes split apart usually this season.
I mean, there's been many seasons where it's been like that, or you have, a division where no one's winning at all, and so it's just like, whoever wins the division gets in, and they're below 500. And so, like I said, there's so much football out there. We win this game, we're right where we want to be as far as the standings. And so, you got to just focus on us and focus on the things that we need to do better, and that's it. You see the league is trying to figure it out as well. So that's more optimism.
In your experience,
I got you.
In your experience in the league, when a team is not able to make a move at the trade deadline, does it have any effect in the locker room at all? Where you just got to. There's a lot of football left, but you guys got to go with the guys that you have right now.
I mean, we as players don't pay attention to all that. Like, that's not our job. That's not, what we do. So if something was to happen, then you react to it. But I've never been a person that reacts to things that haven't happened yet. So if something was to have happened, then I would react to it. But nothing happened, so it's nothing to react to.
What's been your experience playing against Tom Brady, and from your vantage point, what has made him so difficult to defend?
He just, he has total control of the offense. He goes up, reads coverages really well, obviously, makes the certain checks, and, like him and Peyton and all those guys, they're able to change the play at the line of scrimmage and kind of at their discretion. So it's almost like having the offensive coordinator, as the quarterback. And, he gets the ball out very quick. He makes really smart decisions. And so I think the key to the greatness is the consistency, how long he's done it over, a course of, 20 years or however long he's been playing. That's the thing that stood out to me when I first played him, and that's the thing that stands out when I watch him now.
Is it that different when a guy like Brady or Peyton Manning, when you're looking at them across the line and they're pointing at you, whatever, calling where you are? Is that a different vibe when it's someone of that level as opposed to most other NFL quarterbacks?
Yeah, because when you play quarterbacks like that, you have to stay true to true to the things that you practice. Those guys will look you off knowing that they want to throw over here, so they'll stare over here the whole time, knowing they want to throw to the backside, and so they play like mind games with you like that. And then you have guys like Peyton Manning who will come to the line of scrimmage and just tell you exactly what the play is, and you think like he's making it up, and then the guy actually runs that play, and I'm like, it can't be that simple. You can't just tell us the exact play. So there's little things like that, even like mind tricks, where it's like, like you said, you call up certain plays and they say it loud enough for you to hear it, and I was like, nah, there's no way this guy's doing that. But it's chess, and so these games that you love to play against guys like this, and it's going to be fun.
Bobby, I feel like we ask you this every single week, but how do you get pressure on a quarterback who throws the ball really quickly?
You play really sticky coverage and make him hold on to it. If you watch the game last year, they got to him a lot, and they've affected him a lot. And so, if you do it early, do it quick, you have a chance to, make plays. If not, get the sack, create turnovers.
In your career, do you have a particular memory of Brady when it comes to the chess match, what he does most often or what he did one time in your time with him?
There was a play that we saw on film that I think it was 2016, might have been down there. It was the one where Cam, or they threw it over Cam and Earl hit him. We kind of baited him into that play because we watched a lot of film and we saw what they were doing on that particular play, and so we knew if Cam looked a certain way, he would try to get it over him, and Earl would either get a pick or a big hit, and it was a big hit. So, you love plays like that where you see it, and it happens exactly how you plan it. So that's something that stands out for sure.
Kind of to piggyback off of Gilbert's question there, you guys are a really predominantly zone coverage team, and the league obviously is a predominantly zone coverage league. So when you want to keep the construct and the sort of philosophy of the defense in that regard intact, what ways can you maybe get stickier, like you said, in that regard?
I think you play the percentages on down and distance. Look at the down and distance, see how a team attacks on second and third, second and seven, things of that nature. Some teams consider those, second and third a pass opportunity because, if they don't get it, it's still third and short. And so just understanding that particular team, how they do it, and everything, in my opinion, is always outside of the first 15 because, most offenses break their tendencies within the first 15 and then kind of go back to it after that. And so that's kind of how you would do it, just understanding, what type of team you're playing when it comes to second and first down, and obviously create longer distances on the third down.
First 15, 30?
The first 15 plays.
I'd like this correct.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
All set?
Cool. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Bobby.